Is it off? Hello? Are you there? I'm here. Can you hear me? I hope so. My little dinghy going across the... Well, hello. I'm back. What'd I say on my video? It's me, it's Milo B. Welcome to the Thursday night edition of the Minutes with Milo show. In fact, it's the only edition during the week now, since I stopped doing 2 shows a night, since it's summertime. Got a lot of stuff going on. Since it's summertime, you know, takes up a lot of time. And so I only do 1 show a week, Thursdays, because it's my Friday. And it's a sad Friday. A couple of reasons. One, I have to go on call tomorrow. Second is I lost a chick. Like a little baby chick, a little Rhode Island red chick. I went to Rural King, bought 4 of them a week ago or so. Hey, Robert. And been doing fine. I don't know. I had no idea. Checked on them this morning. Gave them a little food, a little water. Come back to them today. Little one's dead. Little one's dead. I don't know. I don't know what got into it. So, I hope it doesn't happen. Now we're down to 3. I hope it doesn't continue on this trend. So anyway, I'm a little running behind. I'm running a little behind because I just gone down there to check on them. But I got a few minutes before I have to do the show, and so I'll run down there and check on them. And I found that one dead, so I had to, had to clean out I don't know what you call it, their house, their pen. They're in a big, deep, Rubbermaid thing, tote. Pretty tall, got a lot, but I don't have a red light, and I'm hoping that's not one of the reasons. So if you watched the last show, How to Raise Chicks, one of the things they said, hello, Garthok, was that to use a red lamp, because if one of them got injured, they see blood, and they all just start pecking it. So, I don't know if that's the case. Who knows? I didn't do an autopsy. Any signs of henpecking? It looked like it'd been ran over. So there was 3 of them. So I would guess that at some point they ganged up on it. That would just be my guess. So I'm going to try. I have a red light bulb, but I don't think it put out enough heat. So right now I'm using a spotlight in one of those aluminum work light, clamp-on work light things. So it shines on it pretty brightly, and it's pretty close. So they're staying plenty warm, I would think. And, it was, like I said, they were okay this morning. I checked on them this morning, and everything was A-okay. I don't know. I've been worried that a snake would get into the barn. And, nope. I got to save the red light for Roxanne. So, got to earn a little cash on the side. But, so when I'm working outside and I have the doors open to the barn, I'll put a piece of metal across the top so if a snake does get in there, wouldn't be able to get into the thing. So anyway, I bought some snake repellent. I know we're off topic. We're supposed to be talking about hermit crabs, and I'll tell you the story of the hermit crab here in a minute. But I didn't buy them. My wife sent her on a mission, and one of the things she wanted to get was some snake repellent. Because a fellow at work told me that lemongrass worked good. So I did some research online. There's certain kinds of flowers, and there's a flower that they crush up and make oil out of that's supposed to be really good. But she bought some in a spray instead of granules because they crush up that stuff and make it into some granules too. I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, it has clove oil and lemon oil and something else in it. But you have to hook it to a garden hose, like on those broadcast spreaders. You hook to a garden hose. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to cover the whole yard. I want to cover the doorways, the perimeter of the house and the barn. I want to do that. I just want to see if I can keep them back. I ever tried mothballs? Now, a friend of mine told me about mothballs. You don't want to put poison. Now, this is for mice. This kind of ties in what Garthok's saying here. But anyway, for mice, he says you don't want to use poison because that entices them. It smells like food to come in and they eat it. So you're bringing mice into where the poison is. Then they eat it and they wander off and die. So he says what you do is you put mothballs, and that is supposed to cover up any smell of food. Only thing they can smell is, the mothball scent. So I can't eat that, so they don't come into whatever it might be. So I put mothballs in my mom's Dodge conversion van at the camper, and Law have mercy. I haven't tested it to see if it's full of mice, but man, we were in there, I don't know how long ago it was, but everything in that camper reeks of mothballs. Now, are you supposed to use 1, 2, 1 dozen, 2 dozen? I don't know, but I've obviously used too many. Woo! But no, I have not tried mothballs to try to keep away snakes. And they say the lemon oil or this other type of oil made from the flowers, snakes smell by tasting the air. So it's a bad taste to them. And I assume that mothballs probably would be too, because they stink like mothballs. But anyway, hermit crabs. Daggone it. Let's get in on some hermit crabs. Now, funny, weird story. Totally weird story. If you look at, my internet's monkeying up. Well, let's see what they've been saying. Red light, it happens. They know if something is wrong. Oh, you're talking about the chicks picking on one of the others. Well, it was one of the small ones. So, what's funny about the chicks is when they don't sit down. A chicken, when they roost, they kind of sit down, snuggle up, and they just kind of tilt their head over. When these little critters sleep and they're really tired, they're young, so they're the fluffy chicks, the downy chicks is what I call them. They lay out like they're dead. So I'm wondering if maybe it was too tired. Maybe they decided, oh, it looks dead, and pecked it, and then once one of them pecked it, or maybe it got sick. I don't know. The lady at Rural King said, they don't have a real strong immune system and everything. I don't know. Maybe it got sick, didn't like something I was feeding it, or it had some other kind of thing going on. We'll just have to see. But I'm off, so I can keep an eye on them tomorrow. See what's going on. That don't make sense. Anyway, hermit crabs. So I did a lot of work. You saw I posted a video last night, and it was one that I put out on the odds and ends section. So if you've been to the YouTube page, you may have seen it. So last week I took Thursday. This week I took Tuesday. So over the holiday I had a really long weekend, 5 days, and did a bunch of work around the barn. I needed to spread dirt. I call it dirt. It was shale, rock, whatever you want, slate, whatever you want to call it. Rented equipment, did all that kind of stuff. So I'd been neglecting my mowing. Why should I get a refund? Yeah, I got the gutters cleaned out. Shoot, yeah, I did. Got some other things done too. But anyway, I had been neglecting my mowing. So Tuesday, after I took that equipment back, uh, came home and a faulty product. Well, it lived for a week, though, caca happens, as they say. I was really only planning on wanting to keep two, but I was hoping, I had no reason to think that, I wouldn't raise four, and then once they get bigger, uh, I could sell them off, give them away, or whatever. But I was only wanting to keep two. Uh, so I'd have been neglecting mowing. So when I got back Tuesday, I jumped on the riding mower and just started mowing everything inside. So I've got a patch of ground that's run next to my driveway that's in between my two neighbors' houses, because my driveway comes out between the two neighbors. And I'd mowed it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I was finished. I'm just going to go over to another patch. Got to run up the driveway, go to another patch. And I looked out in the yard, and it looked like something brown laying in the yard. And I said, what is that? So I pull up to it on the mower. I look over, and I'll be daggone if it's not a hermit crab walking across the yard. A hermit crab walking across my yard after I just mowed it. Now, Robert's heard the story. Garthog hasn't heard it, nor you people out there in La La Land hadn't heard it either. So I was I was stunned. And I hollered at my neighbor who was out on his back porch. And he's a recent transplant from up near Chicago. Oh, he didn't know what a hermit crab was. I thought everybody knew what a hermit crab was. I said, come over here and explain this to me. And he goes, what is it? Some kind of crab? And I said, yeah, it's a hermit crab. He goes, never seen one. Don't know what they are. So I kind of had to explain to him what I knew of them. And I said, this ain't the beach. And they're not freshwater. They're really kind of weird, because I checked with my other neighbor to see if she's got older kids that live at home. And I thought, well, maybe they went to Myrtle Beach. You know how young adults might be. Oh, look, they're so cute. Let's just get one, keep it at home. But no, that wasn't the case. So I don't know where it came from. There's not really any little kids in the neighborhood that, they have grandparents live in the neighborhood, but not little kids. So maybe little Tommy, little Tina were, come by grandma's house or something and had the little thing out playing with it, ran inside to get some lemonade, come back, and the thing had scurried off. I have no idea. So checked with the lady at work and toyed with the idea of giving it to my mom, because she had one and it had died. She said no, didn't want to know. So I talked to the lady at work, and I don't know how many she had. I was going to try to get her to come on tonight, give me a little ring-a-dingy on the phone, and see if she wouldn't mind talking with us. But she's not shy. She's not shy. But people sometimes don't like to call in and be on the internet, whatever it might be. So I don't know. Maybe she will, maybe she won't. Sheriff, you out there? This is my number. Call me. I'll just pick up the phone. We'll chit chat. But anyway, she's got some. And I say some. She's got several or a few, but more than a couple. So anyway, she said, yes, I'd like to have the little booger. No, they're not native. Are they not native? Maybe they are. My neighbor had a pretty good idea. He said, maybe a bird, like a crow, something picked it up, and was carrying it, doing something with it. I don't know why it would be out in the yard. It's got to be out someplace, somebody, a crow or another bird, get a hold of it. And lost interest in it, dropped it, did whatever. I don't know. But Anyway, it was in my yard. Picked it up, and if you looked closely at the, let's just go ahead and the picture that I used for tonight's marker, whatever you'd call that, is the little dude. Sherry took a picture of it. Can y'all hear that buzzing? I clicked open maybe it's just in my ear. I clicked open my little file manager so I could show you this. And this is the little guy here. So that is an actual picture of the hermit crab that I found in my yard. Now this shell, can I see that? The shell part, it looks like it's been water dipped or hydro dipped or something. It's not a real shell pattern on that thing. So I don't know, but this is the actual little guy that I found in my yard. Isn't that something? So I gave him to her. She brought this really cool house. It was like a little bucket. And man, she had like a coconut thing in there and some mossy, probably wet, and I think a sponge and some what she called crab crack and stuff. So yeah, he's going to be living high on the hog. She's got him separated from her others right now in case, you know, he's got some kind of funky, grass disease or something. So I thought I would do a show on hermit crabs because they're really interesting when I was reading about them, just trying to figure out what can we feed it, because we didn't know if we'd have it a day or 2 days or a week or whatever. So we try to be good foster parents. And so we try to figure out it needs non-chlorinated water, fresh water, non-chlorinated salt water. Okay, you can make it. It can eat all kinds of different things. Like any crab in the ocean, it's a scavenger. So it will eat lots of things. Right? Got to be someone's aquarium pet, but how did it get outside? That's the reason I thought, well, maybe a kid brought it to grandma's house and set it down outside thinking, it's a crab. It hardly ever walks around. It's kind of slow. I'm going to run in and get a popsicle, or I'm going to run in and get some water. Goes in, well, I got a potty, you come back, and the thing has wandered off. And I don't know. I don't know where it was when I was mowing, but I didn't kill it. So I'm not sure if I did. If I ran over it with the mower, it was hunkered down in the grass, or I mowed a couple of strips next to the gravel driveway, and maybe it walked into those strips after I'd already mowed. I have no idea. But he was moving along pretty good. And come to find out, they're more nocturnal than daylight. So this was, in the afternoon, the hot of the day. So he was boogieing, or it was boogieing. Have no idea, male or female. And according to Sherry, it has to come pretty far completely out of the shell before you even have a chance to see if it's male or female. So there's supposed to be a way. She is apparently, knowledgeable. It doesn't take much to be more knowledgeable than me, especially on hermit crabs. But she seems to know her crabs. She knows what she's talking about. So They're more nocturnal. We put them in a little 2-gallon aquarium that we had for whatever reason. I think I had a tarantula in it years and years ago. Anyway, washed it out, sanitized it. Then I had some sand that I'd sifted to use in a sandblaster. Put it in a pan and baked it at 300 degrees for 30 minutes to sanitize the sand. And put him in there, gave him a little thing of distilled water that we had. She had some distilled water for something that she made, plant food or something. But anyway, so put it in a little cup, and then he could eat oatmeal. So we sprinkled in some oatmeal, put the sand to one side, you know what I mean? And put the oatmeal down there in the bottom. Vegetables, fruits like watermelons or apples or anything like that. Now, as a scavenger, it will also eat dead things. So I'm not suggesting that you get your hermit crab and try to, you probably have to have hundreds of hermit crabs to eat the dead bodies. Just best bury them in a grave. Or get hogs. Hogs will eat anything. But I digress. So it's a scavenger. And the reason you don't want chlorinated is because it said chlorinated water of any kind has enough fumes that it bothers its gills. Now this is what blows my mind. Gills. As far as I know, nobody puts their hermit crabs, well, maybe they do have a swimming pool, salt water. I think that's where they, the salt water is for them to get in there and splash around and feel like they're in the ocean. But I don't know if do they hold their breath? I don't know. Because they like super humid, from 70% to 80% humidity in the air, and they like their temperatures in the 70s and low 80s for their room temperature. So I don't know. We're going to read up on this thing. But he was really cool because he comes out of his shell more than, I've seen him, and you pick him up. Even if you picked him up, he retract back up into his shell. And the minute you tilted him forward like you're going to sit him down, he would kind of put his legs out like, I'm going, okay, you can sit me down now, and I'll be on my way. And but yeah, with him out like this, it's really cool. This is a super cool picture that she's got. All right, let's get over here where our favorite place is. I've got to change my source. There we go. Source of hermit crabs now is going to be what? Wikipedia? No, but yes, it's going to be. Now we'll look at this, and I'll tell you. Sherry told me this. If they can't find a shell, they'll find something else. I'll leave it at that. My gosh, I can't even read the first sentence. The hermit crabs are Anomonera decapodal crustaceans of the superfamily Pegawidea. I don't know, man. That have adapted to occupy empty, scavenged mollusk shells to protect their fragile exoskeletons. There are over 800 species of hermit crab, most of which possess an asymmetric abdomen concealed by a snug-fitting shell. Hermit crab's soft abdominal exoskeleton means they must occupy a shelter produced by other organisms or risk being defenseless. So I guess instead of having like a lobster tail, they do have something on their tail section. What that is? Ow. Some kind of gooey something. I laid tile today at work, so I bet it's some kind of tile glue. Or a booger. I don't know. It could be a booger. So I hope they look at this in there. So I think something in their tail grabs a hold of the sides and, like holds on to the shell. Where am I? What am I doing here? Let's see. Can we get? Is that better? Is that a little better? I don't know. I need to bring that up to get rid of that. Move that around. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. All right. The strong association between hermit crabs and their shelters has significantly influenced by their biology. Almost 800 species carry mobile shelters, most often calcified snail shells. This protective mobility contributes to the diversity and multitude of these crustaceans, which are found in almost all marine environments. In most species, development involves metamorphosis from symmetric, free-swimming larvae to metaphylog, I don't know, morphologically asymmetric dwelling shell-seeking crabs. I'm sorry I butchered all that. Such physiological and behavioral extremes facilitate a transition to a sheltered lifestyle, revealing the extensive evolutionary links that led to their superfamily success. Man, all right. Let's keep going. Keep going. Let's get into some fun things. Oh, man. We don't want fossil records. Okay, here we go. Most species have long, spiral-curved abdomens which are soft, unlike the hard, calcified abdomens seen in related crustaceans. The vulnerable abdomen is protected from predators by a salvaged, empty seashell carried by the hermit crab, into which his whole body can retract. Most frequently, hermit crabs use the shells of sea snails, although the shells of bivalves and cephalopods and even hollow pieces of wood and stone are used by some species. The tip of the hermit crab's abdomen is adapted to clasp strongly onto the columella of the snail shell. Most hermit crabs are nocturnal. Octopuses do this as well. Yeah, we saw going into those bottles and stuff. So here's the spiral part. Outside its shell, the soft, curved abdomen of a hermit crab is vulnerable. So hermit crab emerges from its shell. See, here's the sand and stuff. I don't think I've ever seen one in the wild, to be honest with you. So hermit crabs species range in size and shape from species with a carapace only a few millimeters long, which can live 12 to 70 years and can approach the size of a coconut. The shellless hermit crab is the world's largest terrestrial invertebrate. We've got to see if we can find one of those. The young develop in stages, with the first two occurring inside the egg. Most hermit crab larvae hatch at the third stage. In this larva stage, the crab has several long spines, a long narrow abdomen, large fingered fringed antennae. Several molts are followed by the final larva stage. The sexual behavior inhibited by hermit crabs varies from species to species, but in general description is as follows. If the female possesses any larva from a previous mating, she molts and lets them go. Female hermit crabs are ready to mate shortly before molting, and she may come in contact with a male. In certain species, the male grabs the pre-molt female for sometimes hours prior to the female molting, and usually continuing after she is molted. Let's see. Shells and shell remodeling. Let's scroll up. You can't see that. I wish I could scroll to the side. I don't know of any way to make it scroll to the side. Let's see. Nope, as I shrink it, it just gets smaller. Can I scoot it over that way? Oh, I can. There we go. Look at that. Gotcha. All right. So Sherry had told me about this too. If they need a bigger shell and they come across one that they like, even though it's inhabited, they'll fight over it. Oh, MwM messing with Milo? Well, Garthog's just on top of it. Looks like an alien, yeah. So let's see what this. So it looks like this guy has a really funky looking shell. And this one over here has a pretty good looking seashell. So I can see where this guy here would want a really nice shell. As hermit crabs grow, they require larger shells. Since suitable intact shells are sometimes a limited resource, competition often occurs between hermit crabs for shells. The availability of empty shells at any given place depends on the relative abundance of shells and hermit crabs. An equally important issue is the population of organisms they prey upon, gastropods, and leave the shells intact. Okay, so hermit crabs kept together may fight or kill a competitor to gain access to the shell they favor. However, if the crabs vary significantly in size, fights over empty shells are rare. Hermit crabs with undersized shells cannot grow as fast as those with well-fitting shells and are more likely to be eaten if they cannot retract completely into the shell. Shells often used by hermit crabs have usually been remodeled by previous hermit crab owners. This involves a hermit crab hollowing out the shell, making it lighter. Really, only small hermit crabs are able to live without remodeling shells. Most big hermit crabs that have been transferred to a normal shell die. Even if they are able to survive, hollowing out a shell takes precious energy, making it undesirable to any hermit crab. They achieve this remodeling by both chemically and physically carving out the interiors of their shells. These shells can last for generations, explaining why some hermit crabs are able to live in areas where snails have become locally extinct. Well, that's crazy, and there are cases where seashells are not available and hermit crabs will use alternatives such as tin cans, custom-made shells, or any other types of debris which often prove fatal to the hermit crabs, as they can climb into but not out of slippery plastic debris. This can even create a chain reaction of fatalities, because a dead hermit crab will release a signal to tell others that a shell is available, luring more hermit crabs to their death. More specifically, they are attracted to the scent of the dead hermit crab flesh. For some larger marine species, sporting one or more sea anemones on the shell can scare away predators. The sea anemone also benefits it because it's a prime position to contribute fragments of the hermit crab's meals. So that's a real pretty shell this guy's got. And he's way in there too. I mean, way in there. Shell fighting is a behavior observed in all hermit crabs. It is a process in which the attacker hermit crab attempts to steal the shell of the victim using a fairly intricate process. It usually occurs if there are no empty shells suitable for growing a hermit crab. These fights are usually between the same species, though they can also occur between two separate species. If the defending crab does not retreat to the inside of its shell, an aggressive interaction will usually take place until the defending crab retreats or their attacker flees. After the defender has retreated, the attacker will usually turn the shell over multiple times, holding it with its legs, and then places it in its cellipads into the shell's opening. Then the crab starts the positioning behavior. This consists of the attacker moving in, yada bada bada bada. He's got a big old claw there. I wonder where they were first. Where do they live? So here they show them living in a group, which would make sense. Association with other animals. Hermit crabs as pets. Several marine species of hermit crabs are common in the marine aquarium trade. They are commonly kept in reef fish tanks. Of the approximately 15 terrestrial species in the world, the following are kept as common pets: Caribbean hermit crab, Australian land hermit crab, and the Ecuadorian hermit crab. Other species such as something this one, something that one, ugh, that one, that one. Oh, there's one. That's pretty cool. Look at that guy. Oh, you can't see that guy. No, this guy. Look how white he looks. Shell jacking. Yep. Yeah, they're like bullies. They got to have the bigger shell though to see to grow bigger. So that's a pretty blue color. Hermit crabs are often considered to be throwaway pets. No, don't throw the dang on things away. I could run over them with my lawnmower. That only live for a few months, but species such as this one have a 20-year lifespan if properly cared for, and some have lived longer than 32 years. Wow. So that's, So there's terrestrial hermit crabs. Let me see. What species of hermit crabs live in the eastern United States? What's That's just crabs. I want hermit crabs specifically. All right, let's look at this guy here. This article. All right. Get it up there. So now I have got to, where is it? Let's move this over. Why? I like your pet, but all right. Many different types of hermit crab species. Only a few of them are sold in the U.S. as pets. In fact, you probably have more than one species in your tank. This is a guide of the most common species. All right. The most common species of hermit crabs are the Caribbean crab and the Ecuadorian crab. Fortunately, these species look completely different from each other, so it is simple to identify them. There are many different, let's see, which one is this? Come on, tell me which one that is. And what one's that? Nobody tells me. They won't tell me that. See, that's purple looking. I think the guy I found was more like this one, more red looking. That's what I'm thinking. So we're looking at maybe this is the Caribbean crab. They don't say, see. They don't tell you what the pictures are. Notice the dark purple legs with red. Yes. Round eyes. Okay. Dark purple claw with a light colored tip. Okay. And round opening. What round opening? So which one is it? You still haven't told me which one that is. Okay, the Caribbean crab has many nicknames such as the purple pincher crab, tree crab, and soldier crab. They usually have deep purple or brown legs with a little orange or red as well as a tan head, often with a dark spot on it. They also have round eyes distinguished from the Ecuadorian crabs whose eyes are more elongated. Additionally, their claw is very large and dark purple, normally with a light colored tip. Nothing but the tip, ma'am. All right, let's see. Let me get, if I can get my picture of my dude up here, or the one that I found. Where did you go, buddy? Where did you go? There it is. All right, so I don't know. It's really kind of hard to tell. She had another picture. This is the one I took a picture off of her Facebook post. And I picked one that showed it straight on, so it doesn't really show what we would like to know. But it is not, maybe, it's not more purple, right? So, I mean, it kind of looks like that one. Yeah, it's not, definitely not red like that, is it? So I would guess it's like this one. This is the Caribbean crab. So let's see. Is there hermit crabs? What species of hermit crabs are native to the U.S.? No. No. Packs of photos. Huh. I don't know. Nothing. I don't. Nothing just says yes or no. Let's try this silly co-pilot and see what it says. All right. Stop responding. Thank you very much. In the United States, only one species of land hermit crab is native and is found exclusively in Florida. This species is known as the something something, commonly referred to as the Caribbean crab or purple pincher crab. Let me provide you with some additional information about this native species and other common hermit crab species. Caribbean crab, also called tree crab or soldier crab, recognized with its deep purple brown legs with a bunch of orange or red, tan head, often with a dark spot, large deep purple claw with a light colored tip, prefers turbo shells with round openings, lives inland collecting water from puddles on the forest floor, does not need seawater to survive. Well, well, well. So that's the only one that's native to the U.S. According to Microsoft Copilot. Copilot. Deep fried. Well, see, I don't know. None of them really explain its habitat, right? You would almost have to have a documentary on the hermit crab uh, videos. Let's just watch us a video here real quick. Man, They really look weird. Really weird. Huh. 10 facts you never knew. Let's just look at this one here. Pop that off.
You know Timon from Shakespeare's play, the guy who scorned humanity and went to live in a cave? A hermit crab species was recently named after him.
Or left shelled. Hermit crabs can be right or left shelled, much like the snails whose shell they inhabit. The arthropod's body curves asymmetrically to accommodate this.
There are some hermit crabs that are not asymmetrical. Members of this family instead use pieces of wood, tusk shells, and even living sponges for their symmetrical body.
Though their symmetrical body sets them apart from asymmetrical species, symmetrical hermit crabs can still be identified by their reduced rear pereiopods.
Hermit crabs are decapods, so they have 10 legs, but their reduced back legs make them look like they have only 8.
Symmetrical hermit crabs use their stubby claws to form an operculum, a lid-like structure, over themselves in their non-snail shell home.
Do you know Timon from Shakespeare's play, the guy who scorned humanity and went to live in a cave? A hermit crab species was recently named after him.
A hermit crab species, first described in 2001, was actually collected in 1875. It sat in a natural history museum's collection for over 100 years before it was properly studied.
Many hermit crabs need gastropod shells to protect their soft abdomen. These can be tough to come by for hermit crab pets, so some folks make their own. In one such example, an artist makes 3D printed resin shells.
Hermit crabs are related to squat lobsters, along with a few other animals with the name crab that aren't true crabs, such as porcelain crabs, king crabs, and mole crabs.
This sea anemone got its scientific name from the character Calcifer from Howl's Moving Castle, due to its castle-like appearance atop a hermit crab's shell.
You've also probably heard that hermit crabs can be left-clawed, sometimes use rocks instead of shells, and trade shells like Pokemon cards. But if you weren't aware of these facts, you can learn all about them and more in our full hermit crab episode. There's a card on screen you can click right now. Go ahead, click it. There's lots to learn. And thanks for watching Animal Fact Files.
Most people
I'm sorry. I had my mic turned off when I was playing that video. Okay, so be careful when you're mowing. That's what I was saying. Look for hermit crabs, yellow jackets nests, snakes. Watch out for snakes. You run over them. Might kill them, might not, might hurt them. You might not like snakes, but I don't want to hurt them. So, yeah, I had it, like I said, I had mine turned off when I was playing that video. So anyway, it's crazy. Found one, gave it to a nice lady. She's going to take care of it. It's going to live a long, healthy life, as I hope my chicks do. Man, that's just kind of weighing on my mind. What killed the little chick? So, I don't know. I don't want to buy any more, so I hope they're not killing each other off. I mean, it's a huge thing. But see, the light is in there. So, you know, they huddle up together when they're cold, and then they get up and move around when they're warm. I don't know. Could have been just a thing. You know, bad things happen to good chicks sometimes. All right. So this will be the end of it. Oh, some kinds of allergies got me. So, like, subscribe, turn the notification bell on. If you've made it this far, I appreciate it. If you skip to the end, hey, that's fine. Just like, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about my video that I put out the other day. Should I make more of those things? I was going to like doing I think much of a tour of the barn. I just got junk in there. It just, you know, came out like junk. I got all kinds of stuff in there. I got 3 outlets. That's how far I got on the wiring before I put a broke down car, some junk, my old wood, the wood that didn't get built with the barn, and then an old camper. So, anyway, stuff going on in there. Maybe I'll make some videos of the stuff going on in there. Anyway, thanks for coming by. Robert Garthog, also known as Clayfish. Appreciate you stopping by. I wish Sherry would have called in. Disappointed. I'm sad. I'm sad now. Let me turn on the do not disturb sign on the old number here. Google voice number. Like fish, no explanations. All right. Let's shut this thing down. Go do something else. Stop streaming. There it is. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. Till next time.